With Jeff Hardy telling all about his exit from WWE and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for March 18th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With him set to team with The Miz at WrestleMania to face the Mysterios, Logan Paul recently was asked by TalkSport about becoming a full-time star following Mania, to which he responded, "To be honest bro, probably. It just has to make sense with my schedule. I'm doing so much stuff and have to really be careful where I allocate my energy. This happened with boxing. At first, I did it, I tried it out and loved it, so I kept doing it. Today was the first day because we had training today. I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. So again, I fall in love with this sport and I soak in the energy of WrestleMania and feel like there's a future for me here, man. I'm gonna have to run with it, but it's not my decision. It's up to the fans. Either love me or hate me, that's great. But if they're indifferent to me, we got a problem and I'll probably get out of this sport." Speaking about his decision to sign with AEW, Keith Lee revealed on the Unrestricted podcast that Adam Cole convinced him to join. There are a lot of people in this industry that you can just trust or get along with at certain levels, but I really like Adam Cole as a person. His testimony for his happiness here was something that made it a little easier. I think that in the grand scheme of things, business, when we got to speaking about that, made sense for me and my plans. That's something that makes it a little easier when you get along with somebody and it also fits your plan and what you're wanting to do in life. It just helps. So those talks were actually easier than I thought they would be, so it kind of made the decision that much easier. When he had his debut match for WWE at WrestleMania 37, Bad Bunny did many proud in his tag team bout with Damian Priest. With Shaq Wrestling, Priest revealed that Randy Orton told Bunny backstage that he'd earned his respect. Just like the fans, when you see an outsider, it's kind of like, just because we're so passionate about it. Not that we have a problem with that person. We're just passionate about our business and we like it being treated as such. So someone like Bad Bunny coming in, of course, there are going to be eye rolls and whatnot. But then you see the other side and it's like, oh no, he's one of us, I remember we were walking backstage and at that time it was the Thunderdome and Randy Orton stops because he was crossing us and said, "Hey, I just want to say thank you for showing us the respect like no other. People don't usually do it this way." And he goes, "I just want to say thank you and you've earned our respect." It wasn't even about me. I was just standing there and I thought it was one of the coolest things ever. I was like, man, that's cool. Because first, it was Randy Orton, who was the man. And then just him going out of his way to say that to Bad Bunny, and then Bad Bunny actually understanding how big that is. Like, he was so humbled by that. That was just cool stuff. That shows the respect. So when he acted that way, yes, everybody accepted him and everybody was happy that somebody from a different world came in like that, and it gives hope. Like, oh, you know what? Maybe others will be like this from now on too. Following AEW Dynamite this week, where she lost her women's title to Thunder Rosa in a steel cage, Britt Baker took to Instagram to comment on this matter, writing, "While others relax and recover on their day off, I'm just now leaving the dental office for the day, bruised and cut up, on 2 hours of sleep after traveling halfway across the country. I might have lost, but I gave you all the best damn women's championship reign that none of you undeserving idiots will appreciate until I'm champion again. This will always be my division. To all those I paved the way for, you're welcome." After losing the AEW World title to Hangman Page, Kenny Omega would take time off from wrestling to have surgeries and recover. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer gave an update on this situation. Kenny Omega is currently recovering from arthroscopic knee surgery. The recovery from this will take about 10 weeks. He will be getting surgery to repair his sports hernia at the end of March, and that's about a 2-month recovery. There are other things he's also taken care of. There is no time frame set for his return. After Scott Hall passed away at the age of 63 due to heart attacks caused by complications from a hip procedure, Dave Meltzer noted in The Observer that Hall was on the floor for days after that fall that broke his hip. His closest friends knew this was coming, but it probably made it worse because there was nothing they could do about it. Sean Waltman noted that he called Hall a month ago to come out to stay with him because Hall had been deteriorating for the past 2 years due to drinking. The pandemic did him in. It was hard enough for him as it was, but he was isolated in his house with no social interaction. He was down to 210 pounds. We called Dallas Page and he went over. It was really bad. When Hall fell and broke his hip, he was unable to move and was laying on the ground, unable to get on the phone. He laid there for a few days before friends told Page to check on him since they couldn't get in contact with him. Page found him and got him to the hospital. On his brother's Extreme Life podcast, Jeff Hardy recalled the events that led to him leaving WWE, saying it was the smartest thing he could have done. Certain things happen for a reason. Subconsciously, that was maybe the smartest thing I've ever done. Guided by something higher than me, I'll say. The best way I can describe my journey the last few months in WWE was like glimmers of hope. Maybe I still do have something. The last glimmer of hope was Survivor Series, which was really good. It came down to me and Seth Rollins. I was killing it. Almost won and the crowd was so behind me. I felt like one of the most popular baby faces in WWE because the crowd was so with me. Then there were other times where I felt like a ghost, roaming the halls like, why am I even here? I don't feel important. I've kept doing my deal and would show up and do whatever they wanted me to do. I've never been a politicker, so I don't go out of my way to try and get a certain spot or achieve a certain status. That night in Edinburgh, Texas, I finished my heat. I took the heat and I said I'm ready to go. Went over the rail, disappeared into the crowd. Naturally, I think I took something like drugs or whatever, but I didn't. If I was that bad, I should have never went out there. That's the way I see it. I thought just another unpredictable thing I can do and I'll get away with it. It was more serious than that. Again, it was one of the smartest things I've ever done because everything worked out so perfectly. Mainly because my first day in AEW, I felt valuable for the first time. The care and love I was shown, I got chills thinking about it. In WWE, it felt like they just wanted to keep me there to sell action figures. I put so much love and joy in painting my face. When I see it come out and immortalized in an action figure, I'm like, that's why I do this. It's so cool. That's one thing I'm super excited about in AEW, my first action figure with the face paint. After leaving the company, Hardy would note that he was offered a WWE Hall of Fame induction. It felt completely wrong. It didn't feel like the time at all. I almost felt offended. I was very emotional and almost felt offended. Like, what? Wait, after my 90 days is up and the Hall of Fame is in April and I do go to AEW, how is that going to work? What are y'all trying to hit me with if I do sign with AEW when I'm free and me going to the Hall of Fame? How would that work? My mind and emotion went crazy and I was in tears. This is my career. I know I've been a very influential person to a lot of young and misunderstood individuals, but it felt so wrong. It almost felt like, how dare you in a sense. I know that sounds crazy. You get offered Hall of Fame and it's like, oh, of course, I'm a Hall of Famer. It's never really meant that much to me, the Hall of Fame, whatever it is, but it's just not time for that. That's why I was like, it's a hard no, especially because it feels like something Matt and I should go in together as the Hardy Boys when the time is right. It's just weird. I still don't know how I feel about that overall. It just felt so wrong. Maybe I should have said, what if I'm in AEW at the time of the Hall of Fame? Jeff would even note that he didn't think he would be in AEW so early. For me, I was crazy nervous that whole day because it was so bizarre. The night before, I had no idea what time my fight was going to be. I kept telling myself they're going to wait until next week, just because that interview I did at one of my music shows got leaked, and I pretty much plainly said I'm going to AEW, and then people went crazy. Yeah, so all that was kind of rushing through my head. So maybe they won't do it that night. About 6:04 a.m., Beth went to check my phone, and she said, oh, it's happening. And so it was on front hat point from that point on, and I didn't sleep, and I know Matt didn't. It really wasn't completely free until like midnight. Jeff went on to say that he'd love to bring back the Willow character. Willow is the thing that I did do in TNA for a while, and like, it could be done so much better now, and hopefully it will before it's all said and done. Just doing that, I was so scared, because Willow was my jam back in the day, my main character. After being dropped on his head from a suplex on SmackDown, Big E would be taken to a hospital where he would be told that he has 2 fractured vertebrae. While many are upset about what happened, Big E is keeping a positive attitude and recently took to Twitter to express his boredom. can't believe I broke my neck. Known for competing in ECW and Impact Wrestling as Simon Diamond, Pat Kenny was hospitalized, according to PW Insider, in New Jersey on the 11th after suffering a mild stroke as described by Kenny. Thankfully, he was released on Wednesday, as we hope for all the best in his recovery. He would take to Twitter not long ago to write, "Life is precious. Hug your children, tell family and friends you love them. Life is a girl. Do not take it for granted." And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.